Hey guys, in this video we will be going to learn how we can upload file to the S3 bucket, how we can download the file from the S3 bucket, and how we can delete the file from the S3 bucket. So for this, let's get started. So let me open my VS Code here. So I'm in my VS Code now, and let me just start by creating a folder where I'm going to keep all of my source code. So let me create one folder here. I will call it as S3 NodeJS. And let's just open this folder in VS Code. So here our folder is open. Now let's create a Node.js project. So I'm going to do npm init-y to initialize the project, and our package.json is created. Now let's create another file which is app.js. And now we can install the required dependencies. So I'm going to install Express, AWS SDK, Multer, and Multer S3. So let's do npm install Express, AWS SDK, then Multer, and then Multer S3. So we will be going to use Multer for storing up the files to the AWS bucket. So let's install the dependencies. Okay, so I think there is some typo. So let me just fix this. This should be Multer S3. Let's just download it. Okay, so the dependencies are downloaded. Now let me just clear this, and let's start. So in order to interact with the S3 bucket, we will be needing the AWS credential and the S3 bucket that is already created in our S3 account. So let's open the browser and create those credentials and the S3 bucket. So let me open a browser here. So I'm already logged into my S3 console. You can see I'm already logged in, and now let me just search for S3. So let's just open this S3 bucket. And here let's create a bucket first. So I'm going to click on this create bucket, and let's give a name to our bucket. So I'm going to give this the name as S3 Node.js 1 2 3 4 5 6. And also remember this region. So this region we will be needing when we will be configuring our S3 client. So let's untick this block all public access, because we want to have the public access to our S3 files, so that we can download those files that we have uploaded to the S3 bucket. And let's check these two in order to make sure that security is implemented properly. Now let's just acknowledge this and click on create bucket. So now our bucket is created. Now let's create the AWS credentials. So in order to create the credentials, click on this. There should be your account information panel, and here click on this my security credentials. Now here you can see this option access key ID, and secret access key. So click on this, and here you have to click on this button which says create new access key. So now let's create the access keys. So click on this, and our access keys are created. Now you can just click on this show access key, and we can just use them. So let's open our VS Code and put all these keys here. And to store all these keys, I am going to create one env file. So let me create one in my e.env file, where I am going to put all the credentials. So the env file has been created, and now let's put our key here. So I am going to create those variables here: access underscore key, then access underscore secret, then we need the region as well, and then we need the bucket name. Let's call it as bucket. Now let's grab all these values. So here let me just copy this key first. Let's put it here. Now secret key, let's put it here. And we need the region as well as bucket so that we can get from the S3 settings. So click on S3 here, just type S3 and open this link. Okay, let's just quickly copy this, copy the name, and let's copy the region as well. So the region is AP South 1. So now we are done with the credential file. Now let's write the implementation. So first I'm going to create an express server. So const express equal to require express, and instance of the express, const app is equal to express, and then let's start the server on port 3001. So this is also done. And now let's do one thing. Let's install one package which is .env so that we can load those credentials from the env file. So let me just install that package which is .env, and now we can load that this env file to this JS file. So we can just use require .env then config. Great. So now let's quickly require all the dependencies that we have installed. So let me require first AWS dependency. So const AWS equal to require AWS SDK. Then let's require the multer as well. And let's require the multer S3 as well. Multer S3. So our dependencies are loaded here, and now we can just quickly configure this AWS instance with the environment variable with those access keys and region and bucket name. So let's do this here. Let's call this aws.config.update, and let's put all those configuration here. So here we need the secret key, secret access key, and let's load that key from our environment variable which is process.env.secms. What was that? It was access secret. So let's just get that. And in the similar way, let's get the access ID as well. Access ID, and let's do same thing. Process.env.access. This should be key. Let's verify this. This is access key. And in the similar way, let's do this for the region as well. So region same. Process.env.region. So our S3 client is configured now. So now let's create the configuration for the multer. So let's first create the S3 instance. AWS S3 is equal to new aws.s3, this one. And now let's do the configuration for the multer as well. So const upload equal to multer, and let's here pass in the configuration. So first we will going to define the storage, and our storage is going to be this storage which is multer S3. So multer S3, and here also we can define the functions. So let's do them. So let's define the bucket. So let's create the bucket variable const bucket, and let's load the value from the environment variable. Let's pass in the bucket name here. So bucket, and then let's define the S3 instance. So S3 we have already defined, initialize, And now we can define some ACLs, which is access control list. Basically here we define the permissions on the file. So I want the file to have public read access, so that they can be accessed publicly. And now let's define the key as well. So key basically means the file name, and here let's do one thing. So here we will be going to define one custom name to our file. We have request, we have file, and then we have the callback here. And here let's call that callback function. Let's pass the error as null, and then here we can pass the file name that we want to have for our files that are going to be stored into the S3 bucket. So for now, for the simplicity, let me keep the name as is. So let's do file.original name, and now so this object is also created, the upload object. And now let's quickly start creating the endpoints. So let me first format the code here, and now let's create the endpoint. So the very first endpoint that we are going to create is for uploading of the files. So let's create that endpoint quickly. App.post, it is going to be a post request, and I am calling the endpoint as upload. Then here request response, and we have to put our middleware as well that we have defined here. So let's put it here, upload dot single. So I want only one single file to be uploaded one at a time. So here I can define the field name through which I will be receiving the file. So let me call it as file only. And now now let's just return the statement, because this middleware has done its task of uploading the file. So let's just simply return do the res.send and return the response like this. And if let's do console here as well, so that we can see like what is coming inside this file object. So we can do console.log request.files, and this object basically contains a bunch of options, and one of the property that this object contains the location, which returns the location of the basically it returns the URL of the file that we have uploaded. So let's create another endpoint, which is for listing up all the files that are available inside the S3 bucket. So let's do app.get, and let's call the endpoint as list. Then here let's define the request response, and here we have to call the function from this S3 object. So we're going to call S3 dot list all objects v2, and here we have to pass the bucket name. So let's pass the bucket name. So bucket is our bucket name, and let's promisify this. So we can call promise on this, and I can use await here, and let's make this function as async because we are using the await keyword. Now let's store the response in some variable. Let's call it as R, and this R variable contains a lot of properties, but we are only interested in the file names. So we will be going to filter out the file names. So I'm going to do res.contents, and here I can do map operation on the array, and here I can just return the file name. So it is present inside this item dot key. So key is basically the file name, and let's store this value into some variable. Let's call it as x, and let's return the response. So I'm going to do res.send x. So this endpoint is also created. Now let's create another endpoint to download the file. So I'm going to create one endpoint, and it is going to be of get. Let's name the endpoint as download, and we need the file name as well. So let's take the file name in the form of path variable. File name, request we need to pass in response as well, and then we can download this file from the S3 bucket. So let's do this using s3 dot get object and here we have to pass the file name as well as the bucket name. So bucket we can give using this property bucket, and then we have to give the key as well. So key basically is the file name. So here we can grab this file name into one variable. Let's grab that const file name equals to request.params dot file name, and I can put it here like this, file name. Let's just use promise here. So we can use promise, and I have to use await keyword if I'm using promise, and then here I have to use async as well. Let's store the response in some variable. Let's call it as x, and I can just simply return the response. So I can do res.send x.body. So this function is also implemented. Now let's create another endpoint for deleting a file from the S3 bucket. So let's create another endpoint, app dot, and there's going to be type of delete. So app dot delete, and let's call it as delete, and then we have to pass the file name as the path variable. Then here again request response, and let's just delete that. So we can use s3 dot delete object, and here we have to pass the bucket name as well as the file name. So bucket name we can just pass directly because we already have that inside the variable, and we have to pass the key as well. So key basically means the file name, and we can get the file name from this property. So let me just grab the above snippet, this thing, and we can put it here, file name. So let's just promisify this, and let's use await keyword here, and let's just return a static response. So I can do res.send file deleted successfully. So all the 4 endpoints are created. Now it's time to test those endpoints. So let me just start my application, node application, and let me do node app.js. Okay, so we are missing something here. Okay, we forgot to pass the async keyword here. Now let's clear up this and run. Yes, so our application is running. Now I can open the Postman and let's test these APIs that we have created. So let me open Postman, and let's just first try to upload a file. So that is going to be post request, and let's put in the http://localhost, and it is running on port 3000, and the endpoint is /upload. And we have to pass the file in the form of body in this form data, and here we have to pass the keys. So if you just take a look at the snippet here, we have chosen the field name as file, so we have to put this field name here. So let's put it here, file, and let's upload one file here. Let's choose the type as file, and let's select a file here. So let me just use this file, results.csv. Let me just send the request now, and if everything goes well, we should be getting the success response. Great. So you can see that the file has been uploaded successfully, and here we have returned the response that is having the string, the URL of the file. And if we go to the VS Code to show you here, we have done this console statement, console.log request.file, and here if you see, we got a bunch of options, bunch of properties are there, like the field name, the file name, this is the original file name, encoding, MIME type, the size, the bucket to which this file is uploaded, the key, basically the file name, the ACL is public read, the content type, everything you can see here. And let's to verify this, let's open browser and see if the file is there or not. So here, if I just open this bucket here, you can see we have the file. And now let's do one thing. let's so if you look here carefully, we have passed the file name as is, but here if you want to put some unique identifier to this file as well, then you can do it here. So let's append the date here, so that every time we get a unique file name. So let me do date.now. It is going to return us a numeric string. And now let's try to run this application again. Node app.js, and let's try to upload the file. So my postman is here. Let me choose one different file this time. So let me choose this PDF this time. Just open, click on send, and here you can see our file got uploaded successfully. And if you just go to the S3 console, here you should see the file, and if you carefully look, we got some additional parameters here. So basically the date.now has created the timestamp, and it has appended it here. If you look at this part, we have basically appended the current timestamp to this file name. So let me just remove this as of now, because we are fine with that as well. So now let me just clear this, and let's try other endpoints. So the second endpoint that we are going to try is the list endpoint, which is going to return the list of all the files that are available inside the bucket. So let's open the postman. Let me type in the endpoint here, localhost 3000/list, and it is going to be a get request. Let's click on send. So here you can see we got the name of those files that are available inside the S3. And if you need more, and if you need more properties, what you can do is you can go here, and right now I am just returning up the key here, but if you need more properties, you can return them as is. So let's just leave this as of now, and let's try to download the file. So let's move to the postman, and let's download the file. So this is the endpoint, and here we have to pass the file name basically at the end. So if you look this carefully, here we have passed the file name as the path variable, so we have to put that, and let's just click on send. So let me verify the file name as well. So here the file name is this, or yeah, let's use this file only. And let me just click on send. So there you can see we got the file, and if I just open the same link on the browser as well, I should be getting the file. So if I just put it here, the file should be downloaded here, you can see. And you can see it is trying to open, so the file has been opened here. So now let's try the other endpoint, which is to delete the file. So let's open the postman here. Let's type in the endpoint, which is to delete the file, localhost 3000/delete, and here we have to pass the file name. So let's grab the file name. So let's say I want to delete this file. Let's just quickly copy the file name, and let's put it here. Click on send. Okay, so it should be of type delete. So let's choose the delete type and then click on send. So we got the message as file deleted successfully. Let's verify this here. So if I try to refresh, there you can see I have only one file. So this endpoint is working perfectly. So that's all for this video. If you have any doubts or any queries, then put them into the comment box, and I will definitely try to answer them. And if you enjoyed this video, then please give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the more updates.